Hello class, this is AutoCAD Multiview drawing number 1. I'm going to be drawing this part here, and this is one of the most common uses for AutoCAD for engineers is to draw out specific parts. This is a multi-view drawing showing the front view, top view, and the right view. And we're going to basically recreate this doing the same way we do hand drawings, only we'll do it digitally. So I've got two things right here. We've got this blank right here, and then this is the essentially it's this. So you don't need to download this one if you have the handout, but you will need to download this one, the blank, whatever. This is your template. You can open this into AutoCAD, and it should drop it in right here. For this one, instructions, final drawing, I'm just going to open that one up as well so I have a reference. And it's just a PDF, so it won't open in AutoCAD. It looks like that. Cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically draw this shape here as a rectangle. And I'll draw another one up here, another one right here, and then I'm just going to start drawing a bunch of projection lines and cutting it away until I'm left with just the parts we want. And we'll shade it and then add all of the dimensions. So let's go back to AutoCAD, and I'm going to go to my model right here. First things first, make sure that I've got these selected. This will make life a lot easier. Also want to make sure that this is on. I've got my track settings for 45, 90. This is my angle tracking, so it kind of snaps to those angles. And that's helpful. So if it's blue, they're activated. And yep. Good. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some lines, and I'm going to use a new tool we haven't really used before called Ray. And Ray is awesome, because what it does is it will draw a ray. So it has a starting point, and it just shoots off into different, into space like that. And I want this to go straight up like that. And the other one that goes straight over like this. And I can escape. That is my kind of my plot or whatever that I'm going to be using. Also, make sure that this is set to not dimensions. See, I've already made this mistake. This should be set to projection lines. And to make sure that these are, I want to highlight them. Change this to projection lines. Like that. I know they look the same, but if you click on it, it should say projection lines, not dimension lines, and that'll be important later on. Okay, so I've got that, and now I'm going to go to object lines. I'm going to draw, oh, didn't mean to change that one to an object line. So I'm going to go object lines, click on the rectangle, place a rectangle in here that has it's 5 inches in length and 2 inches tall. Enter. So that's my overall shape right here for the first view. And then I'm going to draw another ray. I'm going to use my projection lines again. That goes straight up from here. And then I'm going to do another one that goes here to there. Escape. That's going to help me draw and plot out where my next two views are going to go. And I'm going to go back to Object, Rectangle, and I've already forgotten how large this is. It's 2.5 by 5. Draw this like that. And it should be 5 tab 2.5, enter. And then it's kind of a cool thing, and this really isn't required. I just think it's kind of fun to do it this way. If you go Ray, into this corner, I do a 45-degree line like that and place it. Oh, oops, this is a object line. I want to change that to projection. And then I do a projection line. Oh, gotta change this now. Projection line, and then to ray, like this. And then I reflect it right here. That is going to basically shape out this here. So I go ray again, I'm going to go boom. And then where it intersects right here. There. And that will place that spot there. So I've got a lot of lines in here, right? And these extend off into eternity. We don't need them anymore. So what we're going to do is go to projection lines here and just turn them off, or turn off the visibility anyway. So I'm going to click right there. Turn the current layer off. Oops. I guess I shouldn't have done that quite yet. I should have drawn the object right here, this view. So object line like that. There we go. And now I'll go back to this and turn off projection lines. There we go. So I'm left with just these. And I can always bring them back if I want to. I just have to turn the light back on. So, cool. All right. Next bit is, just to show you what I'm doing here, is I'm going to kind of build out this little section here. It has 0.75 inches in height here and then 0.75 there. So as a nice, that essentially makes a square right here that's going to be 0.75 that I can use as guidelines. So go back to AutoCAD and I'm going to draw a square, this corner here. That's 0.75, tab 0.75, enter. And then I'm going to draw a line. And I could use the rays if I wanted to, but we're just going to use object lines because then we don't have to draw over everything all over again. And this one's going to project all the way through. And notice I went all the way through both of these. That was on purpose. So that is going to line up with this line here and that line there. I'm going to do the chamfer, which is found right there. And I can use the chamfer tool after I've erased everything, or I can just draw a line that goes 45 degrees that way. It's giving me the opposite side of that 45 degrees, which is 135. The length of your line here doesn't really matter, so you could just say 2, tab, 135, enter. And then I'm going to click on this intersection point where these two lines intersect. I'm going to go straight up, click right there, escape, and that's in good shape right there. What should we do next? So we've got that, and maybe next we'll do the circles. So let's do this large circle up here. So I'm going to go circle, and notice if I float over this, it's going to give me the geometric center. That's the center of this rectangle, and that's a nice one to have highlighted over here in your O snap. So make sure that one's turned on. I can just click right, oh, I missed it. Don't click where I missed, and then click here on the little star, and it should be 1.5 in diameter. Double check that. Yep. And then I'm going to draw some lines that go down that are going to go through here. So I'm going to go line, and I want it to go straight down tangent to this side here. It's kind of hard to do that. So if I draw it like this, to draw a straight line over there as a radius, and then I go straight down and connect it, that will do the trick. And I could do the same thing on the other side, or I can use the mirror tool. So that one's awesome. If I go mirror right here, click on this line, and I can hit enter, or I can right click, and that's going to ask for the first point of the mirror line. I'm going to say this line here, and then my second one is here, click, and then it's going to ask, do I want to erase the source object, which means that one. I don't want to do that, so I'll just click no, and there's that. Awesome. Okay, and then I guess I can turn my projection lines on again. There we go. And I'm going to use those to draw where it goes over here. I know this looks really messy, but it will clean up and look nice in a minute here. So I'm going to go back to my object lines and draw a line here. It goes up. I know that's a little bit off, but that's okay. And it's going to hit this point. Same thing, it's kind of a little bit too far, but that's okay. That point, and I'm going to go straight down. And then I can do the mirror tool again right here. So I'm going to go mirror, click this, right click, and it's going to say what's my first point. I'm going to use this midpoint. right there. Awesome. Oh, whoops. I did not do it right. So there, right click. Oh, come on. There we go. So I've got those projected down there. And you can check this if I were to do like that. You can see that lines up too. Cool. All right, there's a lot going on in here, so we're going to erase some stuff before we move on. We could leave this, but it gets pretty confusing. So just to make it easier on all of us, I'm just going to turn off the projection lines. And then let's trim some lines here. So I'm going to go Trim Tool. And I'm just going to get rid of these because I don't need them anymore. I will also get rid of this and that one, all of this, and all of this. And I guess we're going to get rid of that too. And these two right here, we're going to leave those in the middle, and then these on the angle. Cool. So now it makes way more sense, right? That was getting pretty busy for a second there. So this looks much better, much more like the final product. And next we're going to add is the circles that go here, that are going to go through as headlines here and up here. And we could use the projection lines again, but it does look a little bit busy if we do that. So anyway, up to you. So you can turn these on or off, either way is fine. Having them on, I kind of like, I don't know, I don't usually do it this way, but let's give it a whirl. So first thing I'm going to do is draw a circle, actually no, a line, and this line's going to go over 0.5, which is good. So I'm going to go right there, 0.5, zoom in a little bit, and it's going to go up 1.5. I'll draw a circle there. That's 0.5 in diameter. Double check that's correct. Yep. Okay. And then I will mirror, well, I'm going to erase that line that I just drew because I don't need it. Use the mirror tool. Click on the circle. Right click. That. Cool. And you don't really have to use the mirror tool on that. I think it's just a little faster and easier. Okay, and the next one, so I'm going to draw a line that goes straight up right here and make the line go over this way. Oh, sorry, the opposite way. That. And then I can go down 0.5, hit enter, and then go all the way back. You can see that this will ultimately be tangent right there. So those are good. Those are good lines we want to keep. And then let's go, I'm going to go ahead and trim those extra ones just to keep this less confusing. Get rid of that, those can stay. Get rid of this, and those ones. Great. And then I'm going to go straight up from here. This one goes up 0.5, enter, and go straight back. Just for fun, because I kind of want to see if this lines up. It does, so we've done it right, which is great. So I'm going to trim the extra stuff. Get rid of this. That, don't need that. And then you really don't have to use this projection method. So if you don't want to use that, just turn those off. And if I wanted to draw these hidden lines, I can also just measure, kind of like I did before. Just take this and say it goes 0.25 tab 90 enter. And just go straight over 0.5 or 0.75, and then it goes down 0.5 tab 90 enter, and then straight back. like that. So that's another way to do it. So without having to do the whole projection thing. So totally a preference. Both ways work great, and it's just what your preference is. Okay. So last little bit here with the lines is adding the fillet. So there's these rounded corners here, here, and there. So it doesn't say what it is, but down here in the general notes it says, unless otherwise noted, all fillets are 0.25. So we'll go ahead and draw those in there using the fillet tool. You might have a lot of overlapping lines you can delete sometimes. That one wasn't. Like up here. Looks like I missed that by just a hair. Fix that really quick. In fact, I'm just going to mirror this over so it's the same. Mirror tool, here, here, right click, midpoint. It's better. Okay, so I'm going to go down here with fillet. I'm going to click this part here and this part here. And I might have made a mistake just now. I think that's too large. So let's check. So I'm going to hit fillet, use the down arrow, put a radius, hit enter, and type in 0.25, enter, and then boom, boom. That's better. Okay, and we'll do the same thing over here. Now if I use fillet again, it will remember my last input, so it stays at 0.25, which we like. That's good. Cool. And then we got to change our line type. So we've got these lines that are supposed to be hidden lines. So if I click on them, it'll multi-select the lines, which is nice. Click all of these. I don't have to hold shift or anything like that. I just click them. And then under where it says the line type, I'm going to change to hidden. Click there, hit enter, and now all of those are going to be hidden lines, which is really nice. Okay, so last bit is going to be hatch. So I'm going to click the hatch. We're going to make these the lightest gray. You can really do whatever color you want, just as long as you're consistent, that's fine. And I'm just going to color in all of these spaces. And then hit enter. Now they're all together. So sometimes you'll get a weird situation where your lines will be show up behind the hatch tool instead. So I'm going to purposely, hide these just really quick as an example. So if they do end up behind, and you can ignore this part for just a second. Yeah, so if it looks like this, you're like, dang, my lines are missing. If you hover over the spots where they're supposed to be, a lot of times they'll show up. Except for right now that I'm trying to tell you how to do that. Huh. Well, that's not good. So, anyway, but you'll select the lines, right-click them, and say Draw Order, and then Bring Above Objects, and you'll click on the hatch and hit Enter, and it will bring them all on top. So, and sometimes you may have to just like redraw the hatch in order to do that. So, anyway, so your final drawing will look like this. This is looking good. If you want to center it a little bit better, which I do, I'm going to go back here and say Move. It's going to ask what I want to move. I can click and select everything here. And then right-click, it's going to say, what's the base point? And click here. And I can drag this over so it's a little bit more centered. And enter. Now my final drawing, it's more in the middle, which is nice. Okay, and now we're going to do some annotations. So I'm going to go to Annotate. I'm going to click Center Mark right here. I can put this on all of the circles, like that. Enter. And then we got to do center lines. So I'm going to go center line, and I'm going to zoom in on this line here. Click, click. This one here, click, click. So right here, click, click, this one, and this one. Great, so we've got them all. And then we're going to do dimensions. We're basically just going to copy the same dimension technique that is shown in the example. So I'm going to show you the hardest one first, and I'm going to let you just kind of copy the rest of these. Well, I'll show you the two most difficult ones, and just as a couple of hints, and then the rest I'm going to just assume you can do it on your own. So this first one here is the angle. The angles always confuse students, and for good reason. They've got some weird features to it. So you'll go dimension. So we're going to annotate tab, click dimension, and then I'm going to be careful not to select the midpoint or the endpoints. We don't want that. We're going to click just the line, so it kind of shows up like this angle, or well, that it's coming out at an aligned measurement. And then I'm going to click right here on this surface, so this line as well, and then it's going to allow me to place a dimension, an angled dimension. I want it to be about right there. All right, and then the other thing that you want to be aware of is if you're placing dimensions like this, that sometimes they come off at a funny angle like that, and we don't want that. So you can force them to stand upright or to go sideways just by moving your cursor around. So if I want it right here like that, if I just pop right there, that'll do the trick. Okay, and then diameter. This one's got some interesting stuff on here. I want these both to be the same, and I want to indicate that once without having to do two dimensions. So use dimension tool, click on this part, drag this over here, place it, and then just hit escape or enter, and then I can edit this. If I double click on it, well, hit escape first, make sure that I don't have any tools selected, double click, and then if I use my arrow keys to go right or left, I can type on the beginning or the back. And on this one on the front, we're going to type in all caps 2x and then space, and then go over to the right side and do space and then THRU. I know it's really hard to see because it's in yellow. If I click off to the side, we'll show you 2x, diameter 0.5 through. So that indicates to the manufacturer that both of these holes are the same and they're through. They're simple holes that go from one end to the other. Okay, and then the rest of the dimensions are pretty simple. So I'll let you do those ones. Just copy the example or the guide, and then in here you can change the title. We'll call this Multiview 1, and then down here you can change your name, change the date. Then for outputs you go export PDF, and make sure you're exporting from the paper side or the final drawing, and then hit save. And then you can submit it to Canvas that way. And it should look like this. Before you submit it, make sure you check what it looks like, because it's pretty common, and I'm going to show you what mine looks like. Export PDF. I'm just going to drop this on my desktop for now. Save. And then I'm going to open it. And that looks pretty good, except I do have one error here. And you might be wondering, like, well, that looks fine, what's wrong? And it's this. So see how these lines on my center marks are all really, like, they're thickly drawn? It's the same thickness as my object line, so that is a mistake, and it's a common one. So, and it's easy to miss that if I don't check. So instead, So to make sure that those are fixed, I'm going to go Home tab, click on my center mark, and it does say it's still on an object. So if I want to select all of these, I can right click on it and say select similar, and it will select all of those, and I can just change these to be center marks, escape, and then I can do the same thing here, right click, select similar, and then change these into center lines. And now if I go output, export PDF, and drop it on my desktop again. Close this one first. Save. Yep. And then open it up. and now it looks right. So that's what it should look like, which is good. Okay, anyway, just get that bad boy submitted and you'll be all done. Thank you for your time and attention.